This week on Erotic Awakening, Metamour success stories and unusual kinks.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
We want to thank our latest patron supporter, George.
Welcome, George. Head over to patreon.com/erotic awakening today and get your bonus content and support the show.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dan.
Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about some Metamour success stories. This was something that somebody asked us to talk about, I think.
Yes, it is. So on FetLife, someone reached out to us, and it seems like they're having a hard time in their polyamory journey right now and not having a great time with the Metamour, and is looking for success stories to try to like fluff them up so that they know this is that polyamory is okay.
Absolutely. And we have had quite the gambit of Metamour stories. I will say, let's start off, and I know you have this nice list here, but we do not have many, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have only had one situation where we were a threesome.
One situation where we were a threesome.
Yes, and I am thinking of a certain rope slut.
Oh yeah.
I would say,
So I think that is true. I think we got close with that, maybe, but that was more of you and her, but me and her were best friends. That was not a we weren't a triad.
right.
So, but it was very close. We were all very close.
Yes.
And that worked out really well. But
And-
yeah, otherwise it's pretty much been V, W, and some of those other
And those
diagrams.
allow for a lot of Metamour. So
Yes.
if you are unfamiliar with the language, what we're talking about, so if I am dating Tracy and Tracy is married to a guy named T-Rex Ties, then T-Rex Ties is my Metamour.
Exactly.
He is a partner of a partner.
So Tracy is my Metamour. So a partner of a partner. So there's your Metamour.
Okay. So with that in mind, I think the first significant Metamour that I had, and was the first one here listed. So I was dating Karen, and Karen was probably the first significant polyamory. And I apologize to anyone that I dated before Karen, but we ended up sharing the same house for a while.
And then sharing a puppy.
Yes. So when Karen started to date someone else, and we'll call him Pittsburgh Chris.
Because we do.
That would have been the first Metamour that I had to deal with. And it was a little bit of a challenge to start with. And here's one of the keys to dealing with Metamours to me is the problem the person, or is the problem your perception of the person? Spoiler alert, it's probably your perception of the person. Because Pittsburgh Chris was always a great Metamour, but I perceived him for a while as a shitty Metamour because of my discoloring of who he was, because of jealousy, because of jealousy, basically because of
jealousy, fear, things like that. Right.
Yeah.
You really had to look at those things. And Karen would have been my first Metamour, and that was a struggle for us for a while because we are so different. She's we're both external processors. And then what am I?
You're
I'm an introvert, and she's an extrovert, and she wanted to do things, and I didn't want to do things. And so we both started taking things personally. And but I like to point out that her and I struggled, you and Chris struggled, there was some struggle there, and there was some really tense moments during our growth during a lot of this, some very tense moments. But we did not have role models. And I try to explain that to people. This is before FET. This is before the polyamorous bulletin boards, I don't know, because we didn't look for them then. I mean, polyamory was still a new word,
Yeah.
let alone trying to find people that did it. There was a group that had just started in Columbus that we all became part of. But even with that, people had different ideas that we didn't agree
Sure.
with, because polyamory is done different by so many people. And so it was really hard to walk that path. And sometimes it was hard when I was having a hard time. People would come to me or us with their poly problems. But then when we had poly problems, we would call people and we're like, so where's all the positive poly people? Where? And they're like, it's you. And I'm like, man, we're fucked. We're just fucked because we don't know anybody else to ask these questions of or to help us out with. So we had to stumble along, and that's why we publish these books and talk about these
Yeah,
things so
absolutely.
that other people don't have to do the same thing. But I told this person, I'm like, we've actually got a lot of positive. I mean, we talk about the tools all the time, which means we talk about the negative a lot, but we've actually got a lot of positive experiences. Even though we've done a lot of parallel poly, a little bit of kitchen table poly with Karen when we own the house, all kinds of poly that probably doesn't even have specific names. We've got a lot of positive stories. Otherwise, how could we have lasted for 20 years?
Fair. No, I totally agree. But let's share some of those
Okay.
Metamour success stories.
Okay.
Do you have any that come to mind? I know the first one that comes to my mind.
Go ahead and share yours. I've got a lot, but I want to see where you start.
The first one that comes to my mind, you and I we were doing a thing. We had a thing that we were doing. And one of my partners, out of the blue, had a big bad thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
And without, just we didn't discuss it or anything. You were just like, oh, well, you should go, you need to go spend time with this partner tonight. And we made that happen. And it was like any of the, oh, I don't know about this person, or I don't know if I'm comfortable about this person, all got set aside because we said, oh, this is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And what they need tonight is you. So go be with them.
That was a good one. That was a really good one. So the current situation is an easy one to start with, right?
Sure.
So I'm trying to think of some of the older ones at the beginning. Big D's wife.
Mm-hmm.
So my long-term partner, Big D, his wife, I covered this in last week's class. He and I decided we were going to celebrate our anniversary. And it was like our third anniversary, fourth anniversary. He and I decided we were going to celebrate our anniversary in Hocking Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, great, let me go home and tell my wife. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to be there. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, because this is like the moments of jealousy. And I don't want to see that. He's like, no, 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 come along. And so we went into the house. I stood behind him because I didn't want to see her face when he told her. And he told her, we're going to go do this cabin in the Hocking Hills, and we're going to spend the weekend there. We're going to celebrate the anniversary. And her response was, oh my God, you guys never get to spend time together. This is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I've got other things that I can do, and you guys have a blast. And that was phenomenal to me. That was a game
Mm-hmm.
changer. That was oh, kind of like peek around the corner of Big D going,
Right.
is this really how this works? Wait, this is not how I respond. maybe,
Right.
maybe I should start responding like this when Dan brings home things that he's going to be doing with partners. So that was a big game changer, but that was beautiful. And she's actually really good to me when there's chances that me and Big D can get together. She makes sure it happens, sort of thing, that he's available and nothing comes up. Though I forgot about this. We were on another anniversary weekend. We decided to go do a wine tour
Mm-hmm.
in Southern Indiana. Remember that? So I don't even remember what year that was. Me and Big D were celebrating, and he had turned his phone off, and we were at our first wine tasting, and my phone goes off, and it's his wife. His son had just been in an accident.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember that? So yeah, man, we wrapped that stuff up lickety split. She's like, "Oh my God, I don't want to, interrupt, and I don't want to. I know you guys don't get to spend time together and all of this." And I'm like, "No, this is, hey, Big D, here's my phone. Make arrangements. I'm gonna go get the cabin key turned in.
Yeah.
There's just no question. So, and I hear horror stories sometimes about how some partners can get antsy over things like that. But
now we haven't had a lot of this one, but I know one poly person who one of the big things that they get value from their Metamours is childcare, in that it's just having somebody else. Oh, can you watch Junior tonight? I'm going off on a date with your husband. Can you watch my kid? And we've seen a lot of positive things on that. We have, for a while, we had a wonderful meta movie thing, specifically back when Marvel movies were worth going to the theaters for. We would go to the movie theater started off with you and me and one of my partners. And then as time goes by, sometimes it was you and me and one of my partners and one of their partners. And sometimes it was mom and
the kids
and the whole thing.
And then we even went to the drive-in together. So it wasn't
Right.
even just
Yeah.
the internal theater. COVID hit and we started going to the drive-in together because all of us could either be masked or sit apart or
Right.
just sit at our own cars and wave at each other and things like that. And we would end up with massive groups of the polypod and extensions.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yep. One of the really interesting things is, I think this is like, for example, when I was dating Kay of Columbus. Yeah, they're all. I got along fine with her partner, but we didn't go out and hang out, just the two of us. But if there's just the two of us, if there's a situation where it's just two of us sitting there, we had plenty to talk about. I would say that is true for all of my metas, but in general, I can carry a conversation with anybody. I think a little bit different now in that I genuinely like T-Rex Ties, which is Tracy's husband. And actually, I think that I've missed the boat a little bit on actually having the opportunity to just spend time with him. Maybe I'll leave you the next time I go to the Korean spa and I'll just take him instead.
Fine, I'll go and I'll take Tracy. Not a big deal. So, but something else just jumped into my head because like I'll go do things with your partners. So with my metas now, and it struck me that you don't spend a lot of time one-on-one with your metas, right? So with Big D and some of the past ones. But didn't we all have a D&D campaign together?
Yeah,
Holy
absolutely.
cow. So it started in our basement. It was me and you and 1K of Columbus and sometimes her partner in, and then another K partner of Columbus with her in partner, right? So, and just, yeah, using all these initials. But that was a whole gathering. And then we moved that over to the space, and then Big D joined us. And then, yeah, that's a polyamory. If you're into D&D or tabletopping,
sure,
whatever,
gather the party.
Gather the party, man. That's a huge thing right there. And now currently, me and Tracy just went to a labyrinth walk yesterday, and you and I have not caught up on the last couple of days of what each other's been doing. We've been so busy. I took her to a labyrinth walk. She'd never done that before, so that was pretty amazing. We chatted the whole way there. I had her go with me to Walmart to pick you up a couple of things, and she had to pick up something. And then we went to the casino, and she doesn't do the casino,
Wait,
but
what?
she likes how excited I get when I go to the casino. You know that losing streak that I was on? The last time I won was when she was standing over my shoulder. This time I won while she was standing over my shoulder. So Tracy is now going to go with me to all casinos. So yeah, we stopped by there for like 20 minutes. I wanted to show her the new Hard Rock Casino.
Yeah.
In case they decide to do events there later. So yeah, so that's what that was. But I get to do that. And now we're getting ready to go to Kansas City. So Minkari will be joining us in Kansas City. And then we'll be going through Albuquerque, and Big D and his wife will be there in Albuquerque. So I'll get to stop by and see them. Usually we do something together so that you spend a little bit of time with Big D. And then we'll go on to Phoenix, and we've got the winter with Minkari. And yeah. So lots of meta stuff coming up and things, like I said during my workshop last week, knock on cardboard, knock on wood. things are kind of like smooth right now, and I'd like to keep them that way. So lots of successful meta stories at the moment. Doesn't mean we haven't had our share of not successful. So we are glossing over those.
Yeah, but on purpose, right?
On
We talk,
purpose,
you know,
yes.
we really wanted to share that there sometimes it's nice to just hear the crowing for victory and not the
Yeah, to focus on the joy instead, because
absolute.
like I said,
Yes.
we focus on the tools so much. That means that we talk about the hardships a lot. So it's really awesome to talk about the joys. I'm glad they asked the question, and I'm glad we had stories we could share.
Yep, absolutely. And it was interesting. You mentioned that we're currently in Chicago, where we have a poly partner. And then we'll be in Kansas City, where we have a poly partner. Then we'll be in Arizona, where we'll have a poly partner. But then we'll be in Minnesota, where we don't have any
Oh,
poly
we
partners.
gotta fix that, right?
And by the way, we're going to have to update this. We have new presenting gigs that are lining up all the time, and there's only one way. No, there's hundreds of ways, but there's only one way we're going to tell you about right now to keep up with all of these events.
Indeed. So keep up with all the events, book news, discounts, and more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And get your EA shout out, like
Cecilia in Texas.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
Awesome.
All right, Dawn. So you and I have been kinky for a while, and we have a list here of unusual kinks. Now, you and I have talked about, oh, that's an interesting kink. That's a strange kink. These are outside of the normal, what I would consider and they're not bad kinks. They're not, but they are definitely on my list of these are unusual. I have maybe even some of these I have never even heard of before kinks.
So, and the funny thing is that I've been talking about now that my body can't handle pain the way it used to, right? That maybe I should be focusing on some new kinks. Maybe some kinks I overlooked at the beginning because I like the pain kink so much, which is how I'm getting into hypno kink and a few things like that. So I was hoping this list would have a few of those things.
Maybe it does.
But some of these are very specific, like the one we shared last week with the tuba.
Yes. So last week we shared with my submissive playing the tuba for me.
Right.
Whenever I choose for him to wear and then restraining him. So that's an interesting.
You know what? So this next one is the idea of being studied by a scientist turns me on. Honestly, just scientist in general. I wonder if that alien one, that alien scene that we saw when we first got here to Chicago at that house party.
Yes.
It was an alien, not a scientist. But all he would had to have done was change his outfit. Because he was probing and he was being scientific with the body on the table. So that might, I wonder if that would click with them, or if it has to be a scientist and not just an alien scientist.
I don't know, but that is a different one. You know, this is where I would call that an unusual kink, being studied by a scientist.
Studied by a scientist. So I wonder if it's like, was it Procter and Gamble that studied the dildos? I'm not sure, but there were scientists that did dildo studies like years and years ago. There was a movie about it. I'm going to have to watch that now. That would be scientist. So is it that sort of scientist, or is it like, I don't know. Now I'm curious.
The next one, at first, I was on board. Expertise of any kind. I get soaking wet listening to an authority on some topic. Okay. That starts off on board, but then when the person lists the examples, attorney talking about property tax reform, college professor talking about the history of railroads, head fudge manager talking about the preservation of a financial system. No, those do not. That is an unusual kink to me.
That is unusual, man. So now my little psychology brain's going, wow, what created that? I don't know, but I could kind of get it because the person talking about whatever the topic is probably going to show some sort of passion, right? Some sort of energy, some sort of something. I mean, it kind of reminds me of, oh my gosh, what was her name in A Fish Called Wanda? Jamie Lee Curtis, who got totally turned on with accents. Right? He could be reading a flippin' menu in Russian, and she would be like grinding the
banister.
Yep. So
This next one is the only one that I said I've heard of this one before, although I've not heard of the word somnophilia.
It might become my BDSM word of the day on our social media.
But the idea of it would be hot to be passed out and wake up and someone is just fucking me, not caring that I was asleep. That one is not that unusual.
No.
And in this definition of unusual, as in I've never heard of that before, or I've barely ever heard of it. That one, it's rare, but I've certainly heard of it before.
And I've heard of it as in being asleep and woken up and somebody fucking me. And I've heard it with breath play, passing out and waking up to somebody fucking me.
Yeah, and that one could be also a modification of it is I am in such a powerful power exchange relationship that even if I'm in the midst of sleeping, my owner can come over and just start fucking me, and they have the right to do that. So
no foreplay, just fucking.
There's two aspects of that one.
Fucking hot.
So
that one's hot.
Where I said that one is not super unusual, that leads us into this one, seeing women wearing life jackets.
I don't get that one at all.
Nope, doesn't do anything for me. And it's really interesting because you could say, like, seeing women wear life jackets. Okay, I guess maybe I can get, or me wearing a life jacket. And I was like, but I don't get it. Nope, not there.
I don't want to be on a cruise ship with that person.
You think they might try and cause trouble just to get all turned on?
People in life jackets. No, thank you.
And then the one you just wrote down, I want to do next because I want to save the other one for last.
Okay, so we knew someone that had what I thought was a very unusual kink. He was into medical braces. He was into anything that was like a scoliosis brace, putting his partner in that, leg braces, neck braces, totally turned him on. He knew why he had that fetish. Not that that matters, but that was his thing. And he would go look for vintage body braces for his medical scenes. And yeah, that was his thing, man. He was he was hardcore about that one.
And finally, I really like it when I get thrown down the stairs.
Getting thrown down the stairs.
Not only is that a unusual kink, it is also one that I would say, I don't think you get to try that one too many times.
Yeah. I wonder. So I now mentioned a fish called Wanda twice in this episode. So if you liked being thrown down the stairs, this place that we live in would not work very well for you.
Well, there's 3 stairs.
There's 3 stairs that lands on cement.
Yeah. Right. So hopefully they run off to stunt actor school so that they can figure out how to get thrown downstairs without getting killed.
I have fallen downstairs before. That's horrendous. That's broken collarbones.
Did you fall down the stairs and then immediately check your panties and saying, oh, not very wet?
No, not at all. No.
Speaking of things that do get me wet, apparently we have eggs on boobs from Trevor.
Yes. Did you see that?
I did not, but I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. So look that one up right now. So that one's on our Not Safe for Work channel on our Discord for our patrons. And you may have to scroll up just a little bit.
See, now I'm hungry.
Are you? Well, she's got eggs on her boobs and her oh, nope, it's past that one, I think.
Oh, hold on now.
What?
This one from that Enigma sent us.
We're on an audio. No. Okay. All right. So
we're past this
that one.
Okay.
Yep. So
by the way,
more past that?
There is more past that. But Enigma sent us a tentacle sex with a guy getting railed.
He's getting pegged, yeah.
Not what we normally see in
tentacle porn.
So good for you, Enigma. And then followed by another super hot one. I like that one.
Yep. So
and then actual food on boobs.
It is. It's eggs on her boobs and her crotch.
Indeed.
Sunny side up. And someone said that looks like a carnivore diet. Which comes into play because I'm doing carnivore right now. So, and then there's others, but they're not. There's a figging picture and
the little chemical play there.
Chemical play, which is awesome. And then that one looks like a shadow of someone fucking in a tent.
Yes. Which just somebody who doesn't understand how light works.
Right. And then someone sent me an Instagram about a girl holding a tentacle toy that was it was as long as she was tall. And she was just flipping and flopping it and giggling and yeah. So that one was by Michael on Instagram.
Yeah, very cool. And there's all kinds of good pictures out here on the Erotic Awakening Discord if you like that kind of thing.
All kinds of stuff. And you're scrolling through them now. You're catching up.
I
have
like
time to do it during the day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And there you go. I think that's it.
I think that's it. We shared our joy and some of our weirdness, and yeah.
Be a part of the Erotic Awakening podcast community.
You can support us on Patreon and get early access to the podcast, a free version of the audiobook Polyamory Toolkit, free ebooks, discounts on monthly Zoom classes, member-only Discord access, and more.
Find all the goodies at patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today.
Help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
Join the conversation with us and other listeners.
Use the links from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Discord channel.
Feel free to reach out to us. Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
We are Dane and Dawn on FetLife.
And Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just email us at daneanddawn@eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dawn.